Today, we're going to be taking a look at the sprinting form of the 16-year-old phenom Quincy Wilson, some of the things that he does really well, some of the things that he could potentially work on in order to make it so he can even improve his new under 18 world record, 44.59. We're going to go ahead and hop right into it. So this is from the Olympic trials semifinals. This was a couple weeks ago, and we see Quincy Wilson here. That's going to be the main focus. He ends up coming in third in this race, but this is a 16-year-old competing against grown men here, and if you're watching this, you probably already know a lot about this situation. But big thing we want to just be aware of, and this is for athletes that are looking to improve within their own sprinting and really take some notes about what are some of the things that a lot of the top athletes are doing. What he does a great job of is just getting good range here, because obviously in the 400, it's not that the start is not important, it's just not as critical as like the 100. We could be a little bit slower, we could put a little bit more focus on the distance per step, but we still need to be quick with our foot contact time. We can't be too long here. We just want to also be able to get plenty of range within each one of our steps. So we can be a little bit higher up with the spine here to make it so we can get more distance and get good rhythm, but we still got to be quick with our foot contact time here and make it so we're able to drive and get into our top speed well. So once we get into this position, what really stands out, and this is something that you want to be able to do within your own running, is we could see the range that he's getting within his foot. This is a lot of times something that I have to teach people to get to, is how do you get your foot into this position where you're really pushing straight back here, okay? And really it has a lot to do with the push off. You can see how much extension he has within the hip. So if you watch yourself run, and we're not getting into these types of positions within the hips, and he's only about 5'9" here. 5'9", I couldn't find anything about his weight, so I would say he's probably, based off of his age, he's probably 135 to 140-ish, looking at his size and everything. But look at how much range he's getting in the hip, 135 degrees. A lot of guys I'll see with their knee basically right underneath their hip, closer to 90. Okay, in the 400 especially, you got to be able to get plenty of range in that backside and get plenty of height there. And that's what makes it so he can get good distance, is for him being 5'9", he's still able to get a ton of range here and really good quick turnover. So that's one of the things that really stands out with his running, is he gets plenty of distance, plenty of extension on his steps. Now we're going to look at the end. So another thing that really stands out here, again, we see great distance, great range within his steps. And when you look at the times, first 100, he ran it in 11 seconds. Okay, the second 100, he ran in 10:37. That would have been that straightaway that I was just showing you guys. Then the curve, he ran 11:1. And then the last 100, 12:06. And that's what really stands out, is that the fastest guys are really able to, in this last 100, get as close to 12 seconds as possible. That wants to be really your goal. If you're trying to get into the lower 40s or maybe even break 50, then you got to be able to run as close to a 12-second last 100 as possible after running the first 300. And in order to do that, you got to have great length. If you don't have the length within your stride, right, because you get to that last 100, your legs are getting real tight, your hip flexors are getting real tight, then you end up really shortening the length of each one of your steps, each one of your strides. And so you got to be able to maintain great length there in order to be able to run 12 seconds, just from a pure biomechanic standpoint. So in order to do that, we got to be able to keep good range within the extension. But now what we see is additionally is he has really good range through the arms. So if we're starting to get too tight with the arm swing, if we're not getting that good extension, then the timing is going to be off. You're not going to be able to have your right arm going back and your right leg back. It's your right arm's back, your left leg is back, right? Just how it works from a mechanics perspective. And so if we're really quick with our arms, then what's going to naturally happen, as a lot of you guys know, is that the legs are going to end up going quicker. Well, not that you don't want to be slow with the leg speed, but at this point, it's really a lot more about length. And so that's what really stands out to me, is as a 16-year-old that's 5'9", he's doing a great job maintaining, like we could see with like Norwood here, like he's basically the same stride length and timing, right? So you can see foot off the ground, foot striking the ground, foot striking the ground, okay? Both feet back off the ground. And this is with somebody that is significantly older, 32, and significantly taller, 6'2", right? So 5 inches taller, right? And he still has the same type of length. That's what's so impressive, and that's how, as a 16-year-old, he was able to run 44.59, which is just a absolutely tremendous, great time. Now, when you look to see the front view, and this is from the 400-meter final from the Olympic trials, so he didn't run as good of a time here, but we could still see, I like to be able to look at the front view and see some of the things that I think, to me, what he could work on. So I don't love the head position. I think the head position is a little bit high. It's better to keep your chin more tucked straight ahead, in my opinion. What that head position does is it makes it so now we're a little bit more lean back, and could make it so then he can get a little more hip flexion potentially if he's really leaning back, and really allows himself to be able to get potentially a little bit quicker turnover time within his legs. So if you're, starting to really get short with your stride, then being able to potentially get the head back could make it so now you could really open up that stride a little bit more by getting the knees up and through. But if you get too far back there, then you're going to end up going back into really shortening your stride, because now your foot's going to end up not being able to fully extend. So there's a good little balance there that you have to be able to maintain. And then with his hands, I think he's a little bit too far, like pushing backwards here, where I think it's better to be a little quicker with the wrist action. Okay. But we can see again, the length there is what's important, right? He's getting so much extension within that right arm, right shoulder. It's almost like, one of those things where how much do you want to be able to adjust it or change it, because it's so much of like a strength there to be able to really get plenty of length within his stride. But because of that, he ends up kind of crossing over a little, losing a little bit of control with that right side. You can see how as he's landing here, he's coming a little bit across with his body, and that's going to end up potentially causing some overuse there within that right ankle, within the right shin. And so being able to really control that a little bit more will be a beneficial thing, and make it so we can land a little bit more on the front part of the foot instead of towards the outside and then collapsing inwards with the foot. That's going to be, again, some small things that he could work on, that he could tweak to make it that so he's a little bit more efficient there. But you can see that right foot's coming around a little bit more. That's somewhat of a natural thing that we'll see. We just want to get to this position and then pull straight back, as opposed to coming so far across. He does a better job going straight up and through with that left side, and that's really his strong outward foot. Whereas right side, he's going to be able to come a little bit more cleanly forward, cleanly up and through. He just ends up losing control of that shin a little bit more. So there's definitely some things within the mechanics that could get better. Obviously, he's only 16. So right now he's just running purely off of like heart, grit. He's born January 8th, 2008. So turned 16 not too long ago. 44:59, again, great time for somebody his age. I think there's things that he can improve on within his leg cycle. I think what really stands out is the ability to maintain fast foot contact time and great length for somebody that is his age. You have to have a lot of power in order to do that. And so there's a great base for him to build off of. I hope that he's able to grow more, just because, in my opinion, being 5'9", there's a little bit of a cap on really how good you could be, right? A lot of these 400 guys are closer to 6 foot, 6'2". Having a little bit more length there is going to be important. So, hopefully he can at least get to 6 foot. I think that'll help him out when it comes to when he gets older, being able to compete with some of the world records and, U.S. records and things like that. But obviously for his age, for some of the things he's doing from a technical perspective, and still being able to accomplish what he's able to accomplish, he has really so much opportunity to be able to do some great things here in the future. Definitely rooting for him. And thanks for watching. If you like the information, click the thumbs up, subscribe. That's really beneficial. We'll add some videos here to help you with some other parts of running, give you a little bit more technique, give you some ankle strengthening exercises to improve that. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.